I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
Hi, I'm Maya Jade Frank. Welcome to the Theater Podcast with Alan Seals.
Hey there, you wonderful listener. This is Alan Seals, and you've reached another all-new episode of the Theater Podcast with me, Alan Seals. Our guest for this episode is Maya Jade Frank, who is a total powerhouse and who has been living the life in the fast lane since she was 6 years old. We're talking about someone who made her Broadway debut alongside Ricky Martin in Evita and closed out the run of Mary Poppins as Jane Banks, all while most kids her age were just trying to master long division. But what is truly wild is kind of how she got her start. She literally tagged along to her older sister's audition and ended up having a role written into the show specifically for her. We dive into her fascinating double life as both a leading lady and a tech-savvy entrepreneur. Maya's not just starring as Zoe Murphy in the South Florida premiere of Dear Evan Hansen. Right now, she is also running a digital media company, and she teaches Pilates everywhere she goes around the globe, like when she's doing tours and whatnot. And we talk about her love for docu-dramas and why she spent her tour days at 9 years old visiting historical monuments instead of just playing games, and why she thinks the best part to start any morning is just by jumping around on the bed to early 2000s pop punk. She is brilliant, energetic, and a true example of how to merge a business brain with creative heart. So make sure to find me online on all of the social medias. Tell your friends about this. Leave a rating. Leave a little review there if you haven't in a while. And make sure you get the video version of this on Spotify or Patreon. And now everybody, please enjoy this episode with Maya Jade Frank.
Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
Our guest today is a New York City native who began her career in regional and off-Broadway productions like The Secret Garden and Hurricane before joining the 25th anniversary national tour of Les Misérables as Little Cosette. She made her Broadway debut in the revival of Evita and later appeared in the final Broadway cast of Mary Poppins as Jane Banks. Her screen credits include a Daytime Emmy-nominated turn in Nickelodeon's History and Heritage, and recently she appeared as Natalie in Next to Normal at CV Rep and Chloe in the UK revival of Be More Chill, and she is now, as we drop this episode, currently starring as Zoe Murphy in Dear Evan Hansen at the Actors Playhouse down in Coral Gables, Florida. Maya Jade Frank, welcome to the Theater Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we are recording this on Blizzard Day here in New York. And you're down in lovely Coral Gables. And as a native New Yorker, do you miss this snow?
Do I miss the snow? Okay, actually, yes, I do kind of miss the snow. But that's because I love the snow. Because snow to me means like hot chocolate and like going sledding and, cuddling with my dog, watching like the holiday. But I guess now that I think about it as I'm speaking, it is like March or almost March. So that's kind of sad.
No. So I don't want to yuck your yum because I think you need to yum my yuck as someone who has to shovel a sidewalk and who just finished shoveling a sidewalk. I dislike the snow more than I should, but that's just me getting old and grumpy and get off my lawn. So anyway, those of you who are regularly listening to the podcast, regular listeners will hear a little gravel in my voice. I do have a little bit of a cold today, but par for the course. It is.
No, it's cool. You sound cool.
Thanks. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk like this the whole time.
I think you should, for sure. I'll do the same.
Okay, gotta get the shoulders involved. So you grew up in New York, yes?
Yes, grew up in New York City, moved out to California when I was like in 8th grade, so around 13. I was on Bizaardvark, a Disney show, for a couple of years. So I was out there in California and then went back to New York. But yes,
so you skipped over a bunch of stuff here. Because like, you grew up in New York. You're like, yeah, I'm just in New York and I like snow. And then all of a sudden, boom, I moved to LA and I'm like on Nickelodeon stuff. But like, you had to have been, as a kid, into theater, or your parents took you to see things, or like, what got you into this area?
Okay. It is a wacky story, so stay with me. My parents have nothing to do with theater. They are the most supportive parents in the entire world, but whenever like I even ask one of them when I was younger to read sides with me, my mother's response would be like, that was bad, but I don't know how to fix it. So you should fix it. Yes. Which is kind of actually refreshing and really nice. But my first audition actually was my sister's audition. My sister was auditioning for Hurricane, a new musical. It was part of NYMF, the New York Musical Festival.
R.I.P.
And yep. And she was going in for an open call. They were looking for kids. And I waited with her for, you know what that's like, probably waiting for hours and hours and hours. And I was the younger sister, so just tagged along. And she ended up going in and was like, hey, my younger sister who doesn't do this has just been waiting for me. Like, any chance you want to hear her sing? And they were like, sure, which doesn't happen. I'm still to this day kind of confused as to how they were like, sure, she can come on in, a 6-year-old. I sang the bare necessities. My mother got a call the next day saying, hey, so, you know, we have to hire somebody else for the older daughter, but we loved your older daughter, but we can't hire her. But we'd really love to write in a part for your younger daughter. Would that be okay? And my mom was like, what?
And your
But
older
my
sister hasn't spoken to you since.
No. She actually went to the School of American Ballet right after, like probably a week later. So she was like, I'm a dancer. I don't need to do musical theater. Maya, go do it. So yeah. And then after that, I fell in love with musical theater and the way that it made people feel. I think that to me, that experience being in Hurricane, it was such a beautiful musical that so many people of all ages came to. And I remember this one lady came after a show and she said to me, you know, you reminded me of my daughter who passed away recently, and you gave me that sparkle back. And even at like the age of 7 years old, that meant so much to me. I thought it was so cool that I could do something I love and it would make other people feel like a sense of catharsis. And I just kind of got addicted and never wanted to stop.
So there's a couple like what the hell moments in there. One of like an older sister wanting the younger sister, the sibling, I guess. It doesn't have to be sisters. I'm just thinking about my boys. I don't know if either of them, maybe my younger one would do it for the older one, but my older one would be like, I'm not helping out the younger one. Come on. But so that was kind of weird. But then, yeah, like they said in the audition, sure, bring in the 6-year-old. And what's the difference between you and your sister age-wise?
3 years. He's 3 years older than me.
So she was 9.
Yeah, 9 or 10, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, so she went to ballet. You went into performing into
Yes.
musical theater.
And my parents were just like, can't somebody play soccer?
Is there a reliable career in this family somewhere? Wow.
Yes, my mom was like, lawyer.
No. Sorry, kid. But okay, so then you're 6. You do a Hurricane here in New York. When NYMF was still a thing, and then your parents, then though, I guess being not in this, how were they supportive to like take you to LA and do the Nickelodeon thing? You said at 8.
No. Okay, so it happened after NYMF. That was like, I didn't have a manager, nothing. I somehow got a manager. I don't even remember how after that. And then the next big thing that I did was Les Mis. And I think that was kind of a shock for all of us because, you know, it's uprooting your whole life, especially really young. I think I was in 5th grade at the time, and I love school. And my parents always said, no matter what, school comes first. And I am a huge nerd. And I love learning. And like I even went to college for business and public relations and computer science. So I love school, and my parents were like, school comes first. So if you're going to do this, like we have to figure out a way to make sure that you're still learning. So I did the Les Mis tour. And then once I came back to the Les Mis tour, still lived in New York, did Evita, Mary Poppins. It wasn't until I was in about 8th grade that we moved to California, really honestly, because we wanted a change of lifestyle. And right when we moved, I happened to get this pilot for what then became Bizaardvark. My parents are amazing, though. I thank them every single day because really they had nothing to do with theater, and they're so confused. I think they still are confused, if I'm going to be honest. But no, they're my number one super fans.
That is so cool. That is very, very cool. The Les Mis National Tour, the 25th anniversary, I mean, that was no small tour. Like, you were saying uprooting, right? A family who hasn't been really into theater like that before, all of a sudden to go. So how did you do it? Did you take a tutor with you, or did the production have schooling
No,
for
so
the...
the production, because we were like several kids, right? We had a tutor, and she became our wrangler. So during the day, we'd only need 3 hours of school. So you had to have a minimum of 3 hours of school, and then you
Oof.
could have other hours. I know, right? And then if you had time, you can do more hours, and you could bank those hours. It's the same thing when I was on Disney Channel, right? You'd have 3 hours of school. Then if you had more time, you'd get those other hours, and you could bank those hours, and they could go into another day. So on tour, we'd wake up, we would either go to the theater, whatever theater in that city we were at, or the business center of the hotel, and we'd have 3 hours of school. And then we would truck on over to the theater and do a 3 hour show.
Jeez. Was that
Yes.
was that what do you remember that timeline? Was it like what you expected it to be? Because, what expectations do you have as a kid going into something like this, leaving your friends behind, leaving your home behind, doing this whole strange thing? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, was it what you thought it would be, and what did you expect it to be at that time?
I mean, I was 9 years old. I think I was just so excited to see the country. I think at that time I've really only ever, been to New York, California, because my grandparents were there, maybe Florida. And I love traveling, and I love learning new cultures. And when I was young, I was just like, okay, let's like go on a bus and travel the country. That's probably the only difference. I think we were only on a bus like three times, maybe every other was a flight. But I loved every second of it. Again, I am a huge nerd, and whenever people ask me what my favorite part of the whole tour was, besides how amazing the cast was, would probably be the fact that at every stop that we went to, I would make it a point to go see some sort of historical monument or something, which at 9 and 10 years old, everyone was like, why?
Right.
But I loved it. And now I can say I've been to all of these different places. And not only did I get to perform like at the Kennedy Center or, in Memphis, I got to go to all of these historical places and experience history like in 4D, if that makes sense. So I think as a kid, especially being so young, that's just such a great experience.
Yeah. I can't imagine being able to do that at that age. And like, I'm trying to do some math here. So like you had the ability to have iPads and cell phones, and like streaming internet was just becoming a thing, I think, when you were traveling. So did they do a good job of like keeping you isolated from the distractions of normal preteen life?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was lucky in the sense I had a computer. Did I have a computer? I had an iPad. I had an iPad that had one of those keyboards that were attached
Sure.
to it. And, we would have all of those apps. Like my mom got me Brain Pop, which was amazing. I wish that I was sponsored by Brain Pop. I love Brain Pop, which are basically, it was like the first app that had kid videos that were animations that taught you everything from English to math to history. It was great. And I'm a visual learner, so being able to like associate a topic with a video was so helpful when I was younger. And I do remember our wrangler would have us do schooling kind of backstage, so educational things. And it got to a point where my mom was like, it's like 10 p.m. at night, Maya, like you can't be writing an essay. Let's come up with another idea. So it was my mom's idea that I would start watching docu-dramas. And no, like we'd come back from, singing Castle in a Cloud, and I was sitting there watching like The Help. But it's still to this day, that's probably my favorite genre of movie to watch is docudramas. But I mean, I think that also kind of sparked the idea of, okay, I really like learning about other things. Like after I went to college, like I did a lot of work in producing and screen development and editing, and to me, learning kind of like all encompassing how theater can kind of balance each other, being working like in the front or in backstage. I think especially nowadays when there's so much going on, you need to know so much. And I think being on the Les Mis tour and having all of those different ideals kind of instilled in me prepared me for like the next 10 years.
Wow. Well, okay, so then you are younger, like going into your teens, still performing, and are you in LA the rest of your pre-college life, or did you ever move back to New York?
Pretty much. I was pretty much in LA. Yeah. I would go back and forth, for callbacks or for workshops that I did, like a lot of musical theater kind of workshops before they go and take off. I'd come back for that. But no, I really stayed mostly in LA. So I kind of really did get the best of both worlds.
So you had like the first half of your 20s, or okay, I'm mathing, until 20.
Yeah.
The first 10 years in New York, second 10 years in LA. So you split your younger life between the coast. And at one point, though, you were like, I'm going to continue to do this, but I also need all these extra degrees that I'm not going to use. Like, explain yourself.
Yes. Branching off the fact that I love learning, I made the decision to apply to schools not for musical theater or for acting. I just felt like I was doing the thing and I wanted to continue doing the thing, but I also really wanted to go to school like a quote unquote normal kid and learn other avenues of life. Because when I was in Evita on Broadway, Seth, who was our associate director, he let me kind of sit with him sometimes during the show when I wasn't on, and like watch him take notes and give feedback and sit in the lighting booth or understand the orchestra. And I think that really opened my eyes to this whole other part of the industry that I didn't know existed.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the episode.
And as I got older, I was lucky enough to have that same kind of experience. When I was on Bizarre Bark, I, talked my way into shadowing our executive producer. And I just thought it was so cool how many people work together in order to create a production and make it so successful. I didn't realize that there were so many intricate parts. And I don't think a lot of people do know, like there's more than one producer. There is more than just a production team. There's more than just one writer. And I think I wanted to understand more of that. And in my brain, the way that I could access that was through business, because I loved learning how to organize things and structure and build something from start to finish. And I kind of got a little tester of that when we were in Los Angeles. There was the Woolsey fire. My sister and I started a do good business. We fundraised for fire victims by creating, creative endeavors. So like if that was a cabaret or if it was selling t-shirts or selling bracelets, and that to me was my intro to business. So I was like, I like this. I'm really good at this. I want to continue that. And when I went to USC, I studied business and then also public relations and computer programming, because I liked being able to have data to back up whatever it is that I was pitching.
Nerd.
So I know.
I love it. We are so similar in that way. Yeah. I got my computer science degree and then started acting with that degree, right? So
yes.
It was one of those things where I was like, well, I got this in case I ever needed it. Turns out I needed it, because that's still what I'm doing today for a lot of it is merging the tech and the entertainment. Yeah.
It's so helpful. It really is.
Oh, yeah. And my advice for you, if you want unsolicited advice.
I want it. Give it to me.
Like literally stick with what this is and keep up with the tech as it is evolving so fast right now.
Yes.
Because it's like, and I've used this analogy before, that someone hands you a TI-82 calculator, TI-83 graphing calculator, and all you know how to do on it ever is basic math. You've got this huge toolbox in front of you that other people will use, and you will fall farther behind the less you know how to use it.
Especially if you're taking the ACT. You would need that.
Yes.
How to make like a graph, right?
Yes,
was something.
calculus was when I first started like diving into the advanced features. Yeah, I guess algebra maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, algebra. I think algebra too.
It was like I don't know. I get to now say I was old when dinosaurs. I was in math when dinosaurs roamed the earth or something. You're right. Am I of that age bracket yet?
No.
But yes, stay with that. That's my thing, and figure out, especially as a producer, as a leader, as a director, how to integrate that into what you're doing, because that's what's going to change the game.
For sure.
I think Broadway, I think theater in general is very stagnant, and the more that we integrate tech, and there's there's the stigma around like using AI in the arts, and that's not what I'm talking about. I mean like integrating tech as in developing something new that people can manually create artistically. You can use tech to develop creative things, and it's still a creative process. So come at me, listeners. You know what I mean. But how do you integrate that, like your computer science side of life? Do you really get into that still, or are you just?
I do. You're now going to think I'm crazy, but that's okay.
No.
So I started a social media and digital media company about 2-3 years ago now. After USC, I worked a lot in production and, like I mentioned, with script development and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up interning at public relations firms. And what I realized was I was really good at using computer programming and KPI analysis to help boost and make, entertainers, wellness companies bigger and focus on their brand strategy and their marketing. And as much as we love acting, and it's very inconsistent, and there are other things that I really like to do as well. And so I kind of was able to merge my interests, so creativity with the business side of like merging right and left brain, putting those together. So I started a social media company. It's called Mangoes and Bubblegum. And we work with West End shows, off-Broadway shows. I work with entertainers. I work with influencers. And it's everything from coming up with events for their launching of a campaign to handling, Edinburgh Fringe. If I've got a couple shows that were there last year, this year as well. We do everything from content strategy to content building and editing. And I've got a team of people that help me, whether it be in London or New York or LA now, and Miami. I just got I'm working now with the Coconut Grove Theater Festival, which is amazing. And yeah, so I've kind of been able to finesse my way into having, both of my brains sides working together.
You ever worked for a podcast? Asking for a friend.
No, but I can. You want some help? I got you.
Yes.
I would love to.
I actually am terrible with social media, and by
Oh my
choice.
God, I can help you. No problem.
All right. We'll talk. We'll talk. All right. So then now you are down in Coral Gables.
Yes.
And tell us about that run down there being Zoe.
Oh my goodness.
Zoe
I love
Murphy.
it. First of all, I'm honored. I'm honored to play Zoe Murphy. I've loved this show, from the second it hit the Broadway stages, and I must have seen it several times because so many of my friends were in it too. And I think there's just something so special about this musical because it's kind of very similar in the sense that like Next to Normal was my dream role, and getting to play the role of Natalie was insane to me. I didn't ever think that it would be able to happen. And the fact that I was able to perform that role was just so incredible. I feel the same doing Zoe Murphy because I feel like there's so many kids and so many young people that come to this show and are so impacted. And I think the way that our director, Stephen Anthony, he was in Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway. He also did the tour. So he's coming at it from this huge mindset of, okay, I have all of this insight. I'm going to lay it on you. Take what you want. And let's create something that's unique and magical, but still touches everybody's heart. And I think what I've seen from our very first preview is people from all ages will come up to us. And it's not just like you have an amazing voice or your acting is so great, but it's like, oh my goodness, how did you tell this story? And how are you doing it again tomorrow? And it's just because we all love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of people down in Florida that have never made it to Broadway? This is kind of like one of their first
Yes.
professional, first professional productions
For
they've seen.
a lot of the people, this is the South Florida premiere of Dear Evan Hansen. So most people that don't go to New York City have never seen it before. So we are their first cast.
Hmm. Well, how do you kind of maintain yourself though? Going like getting a little personal then, because you've
Yeah.
had this unconventional childhood and been bouncing back and forth between coasts and dealing with adults probably forced to grow up faster than normal children were, just because of the lifestyle you chose. And when you are doing something that is super heavy, or when you do need downtime, where do you go? What do you do? And because you start your own businesses when you're not performing, so you don't kind of have the downtime to have downtime.
Yes. My downtime is putting on my favorite kind of music, which is like early 2000s or like, Stacy's Mom or like Avril Lavigne. And I put my headphones on super loud and I jump around. Like that scene in Grey's Anatomy where Meredith Grey is and Sandra Oh, they're jumping around on the bed, like jamming out. That's exactly what I do.
Well, I get it. I get it. It probably feels good just to let it all out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, you know what? I think that movement is something that just like is a part of my life. Like I am a Pilates instructor and part of like,
Jeez.
I know. But I teach Pilates and I always kind of teach at sometimes like these influencery events and things like that. And a lot of what makes me different is my energy. Everything that I bring, no matter what I do, I try and make it really bright and exciting and hopeful. And I think that also that goes into how I portray Zoe Murphy,
Hmm.
and how I work with the cast. And I mean, the show is so well known. It's like, how do you make it a little bit more yourself? And I think I try and bring my sparkle to it, or I try to. And I think that that's kind of the lightness that sometimes we need, that even if it's just like, a little quirky smile or something and only us, I think it's needed.
Hmm.
A little bit of light.
Well, where do you kind of draw the line in what you choose to spend your time on? Because if you love learning, if you love to
Yeah.
just keep doing and doing and doing, so where do you stop and you're like, all right, I don't have time to learn today. I'm going to go jump on the bed for a little bit and take a nap.
Yeah, I think every day has to be different, because I think every day you wake up and you feel different, and every day you wake up and you have different things that are, number one priority. I think whenever I'm in a show, the show is always number one. And I think that, this is the third year now that I've got my own company really going and being consistent. And I'm really grateful and lucky that I've got people that work with me to make sure that we're on top of everything. Me being the person that I am, the perfectionist that I am, I always like to oversee everything. So I think that when I wake up, it's like, okay, how do I move today? Whether that be like 10 minutes or 45 minutes, it doesn't matter. And when can I put that in? Usually it's in the morning, because I notice that if I jump around in the morning, I feel better and I'm a nicer human to be around throughout the day. So we wake up, we have breakfast, we jump around, we get to work, meaning like social media stuff, whether that be client calls and or creating content or going to events. And then I take my time. I like to have space between that work that I do and having the show, because I think just getting in the right mind space and physical. I think that's also super important, especially a show like Dear Evan Hansen that is so heavy and
Mhm.
means so much. So, and you got to have time to, warm up and make sure you're eating and make sure you're having your makeup, because, oh gosh, you got to put makeup on. And boy, is that a struggle for me. One day I'll really learn like how to put it on. But yeah, so I think it's just finding your balance of what you need for that day and making sure you get it.
That's very cool. I still struggle with that to this day of just like pushing back certain things to focus on this one big thing. I'm like, I just got to get this done, and then like the little stuff just getting pushed back and back, and so like I feel I'm very happy for you that you have been able to figure out how to I guess appropriately prioritize between the tasks that you have pulling at you. But yes, show needs to come first, which I assume would mean physical health too, because especially when you're in a musical like that, you're on calls during the day, but then you have to go sing at night. Like that's a lot of stress, a lot of physical stress.
But I love it, so it's okay. No, I think honestly, being in Florida, it's like just being outside is like rejuvenating. So it's okay.
That's fair. That is very fair. All right. Well, I wish I could come down to Florida soon and see you. I don't know if I'm getting out of the snow here in New York anytime soon, but if I'm down, what's that?
You should come and see it. It's very beautiful.
I saw the B-roll you sent me. It looks so good. It does.
The set design, the lighting, I was blown away. We were in tech and I think we were all taken aback because I don't think we realized how detailed it all is and the projections. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. The amount of
goodness.
Yes.
All right. Well, then you said you listened to this podcast before, so you know what's coming. I got to pull up our 60-second timer here.
Oh no.
Okay, so there's 60 seconds up on the clock. I have 17 musicals in front of me. You give me a number 1 through 17 that corresponds to one of these musicals, and then depending on what you choose, you give me the plot to that musical in 60 seconds or less.
What if I don't know it? Do I make it up?
Oh yeah, make up the hell out of it. Make up the hell out of it. Yeah,
okay,
great.
We'll
go with it. 3.
We'll create our own new musical because
3. You should know this one. 3 is Aladdin. Go.
60
I should know
remaining.
3 is Aladdin. Do I say Aladdin? Am I saying Aladdin? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This movie is this musical. It's based on a movie. It is it's from Disney. It's basically about this beautiful princess and she's like, I want to not be here anymore in this castle because I'm cooler than what everybody thinks I should be and what my parents think I should be. And then this guy who's like, kind of slumming it in the town square, he's like, I should be cooler remaining. Because I am cooler and I have this pet monkey and he gets a genie. He gets a bottle that has a genie in it and then this guy comes out and he sings like this awesome song and he dances around in a cool costume and he gets a magic rug and then the Aladdin guy who is the town the guy he comes and finds the princess and they go and fly away together and they sing really pretty harmonies.
4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
How'd I do?
All right. About a 5 out of 10 there. That was got a couple things right.
Okay. Cool.
Take a breath. Take a breath. There you go. Okay.
They did take over for the Mary Poppins Theater. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they are still there to this day. Yes, they are. All right. So closing standards. 3 questions. First one simply is just what motivates you?
Motivates me. Passion.
All right.
Passion and people.
Passion for people and people.
I think passion for the arts and people because I think the arts is such a community-based thing that you need to love people and love communication and you need that because we need you as much as you need us.
That's cool. All right. So what advice would you give to your younger self and younger people listening now starting out down a similar path?
For other people, I would say go to a dance class because I didn't do enough of those. To my younger self, I would say keep doing what makes you you because that makes you different. And even if you ever question or doubt that what you go in and do, no matter if it's in an audition room or in life, even though it makes you different is good.
Yes. All right, last question. Hardest one. If you can only see one show for the rest of your life, but you can see it as many times as you want, what would you see?
I would see any Shakespeare play at the Globe. That's like a dream of mine is to perform at the Globe. I just think it's amazing. So I'd watch any Shakespeare play at the Globe.
Fair. All right. Well, where can we find you online on social media and connect with all of your companies and get all of your Pilates lessons and plug all the places?
Yes. It's just my Instagram is my name, Maya Jade Frank. message me and we could do some Pilates together. I'm also on an Oro app. If you know ORRO, we could work out together and you can jump around with me.
Love that. All right. You can get more of me at thetheaterpodcast.com. I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and Threads, and maybe Maya's going to help me out soon.
I'm going to. We're gonna have a meeting right after this. Yeah.
All right. Leave a rating, review, tell your friends. Thank the Jukebox the Ghost for the intro and outro music. And Maya, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.